Haven't met you yet. Thanks for coming to our Canton office. I challenge you to find an office with more character in Sullivan. But it's beautiful. We've dressed it up. I grew up in Canton, so I love having an office here. I love fixing up this old building. We're hoping to fix up the upstairs too, which you should see that if you think this looks crazy. But it's been really fun, and so it's a passion project for me, and I appreciate you guys coming out and see it, and it's turned out great so far. So wanted to get in here, announce our sponsors, let you guys hear from them. A big part of being successful in real estate, you guys know this, is surrounding yourself with awesome professionals that can make you look great to your clients and get your closings done smoother and that sort of thing. We only partner with sponsors that we feel like offer the best service. We want to learn from them, frankly, and raise our own service level by being associated with them. But also, we want to make sure you guys, when you come to these events, know that you're meeting with some great people. So without further ado, I'm going to have American Eagle Home Inspections talk, Kimmy, Chuck, and Lindsay. So I'll turn it over to them.
Everybody's gone. Thank you. And we'll keep it short and sweet. So yes, my name is Kimmy McBurney. I am one of the inspectors with American Eagle Home Inspection, and this is Lindsay. She's also one of our inspectors. Yes, that's not one, but two licensed female home inspectors. Pretty sure we're the only ones operating in Western North Carolina. Very proud of that. We also do have two male home inspectors with us. Chuck, my husband, is in the back, who's the owner of our company. We're gonna keep it short and sweet. Boring, blah blah. We're a home inspector. Zeno calls it character. I call it defects. Potato, potato. It's fine. But yeah, like Zeno said, we're so happy to be here. So thankful for having us. Spiel, all the things. One-stop shop. We do it all. We book it all in-house. If there is an inspection in Western North Carolina, I promise you we do it. If we don't do it, we will find someone who will, and we'll bundle it with our services. We do online booking, all the fun stuff. I'm also a licensed realtor and a licensed general contractor. I do that. This company is my primary focus and our bread and butter. So I do all those things to serve you guys as realtors, to really improve our services. So we're always evolving, always adding things, doing things to serve you guys. So I'm gonna keep it short. Please do find us. Find us on social media. I am there. I have a whole social media initiative. Would love to connect with you guys there and answer any questions. So if I don't know you already, please do introduce yourself at some point to myself or Chuck or Lindsay. Thank you guys.
Wait, one service that you have that you didn't share with y'all is that after an inspection is done, you can pay like $100 because they are a general contractor as well. They can give you a quote. So if you are on buyer's side, you now have something to work with for negotiations.
Yes, I love that. So that's something that's evolved, so you're a home inspector, and what's the first question you get? What's it going to cost? Who's going to do all these repairs? And you guys know no one likes to chase down a general contractor. Well, you don't have to chase me because I'm right here. So I have another company, Transaction Contractor, geared strictly for realtors, and exactly, we do repair estimates, and we'll actually also do the repairs, or Paul and I are working together on a construction loan for a client. So for all of your real estate construction needs, I'm also happy to help. Just here as a resource, whatever you need, free questions, no stupid questions. So thank you guys so much. Thanks, Ina.
Awesome. Thank you guys. So if you haven't worked with them yet, I don't know if they're the fastest growing inspection company in the area, but they've got to be one of them going on. I see top agents posting about them all the time. They do a really great job. And like she said, they can get you guys quotes right away that you can use for negotiations, which is nice. When you need to, early, before due diligence ends, and that's early. So. Okay, so Frank from Trinity Movers. Frank, where are you at? There you are. So you guys have, there's a lot of sort of scary stories I've always heard about moving companies. And up until meeting these guys, frankly, it was always, in my opinion, kind of a crapshoot on hiring a moving company and hoping it goes well. These guys have an awesome reputation they're building, and I'll let you tell more about it.
Thank you. One of our clients told us that there's two types of moves. They're either great, fantastic, or they're terrible. So either this has character or it's terrible. Right? But I am Frank, and I always tell the clients I'll be frank with you. That helps my little corny jokes. They remember who I am. But Kyle is my partner, and I have my real estate license. It's inactive now, I guess. I just wasn't good at it. Didn't handle rejection well. And so I applaud you for what you do, because it's a tough field, and you guys do a lot of stuff. Sometimes it's easier to carry a dresser up 3 flights of stairs than it is to work with real estate. A lot of stress involved with it, and probably one of the things we like to do, because I don't care, I've moved myself, like all of you, it's stressful, it's emotional, and we try and take that out. Now, how can we benefit you? Well, it's pretty simple. Hey, Bill, you've got a great house here. It's going to sell here probably about a week, or whatever you lingo is. And you have a moving company. And they may not have thought of it, or may have, and then it's like, well, I know these guys, they do great work, they're fully licensed, they're fully insured, they travel all across the United States. If you have that call that comes from Phoenix, Arizona, California, Washington, Michigan, Clearwater, Florida, please, then we can do that move too. We travel out there and then we move them back across the country. We recently moved a guy from California and beat the cost of the national company, and I won't talk about those 2 guys and who they are, but anyway, we beat the national company by about $20,000 on the quote. And we still operate as a business. We're going to do a second move for him tomorrow from a storage unit to the house he bought land in South Carolina. So we try and do things the right way. Now, let me ask you this. How many things in the world do you get for free? Not a whole lot except the business cards I have in my pocket or the great breakfast that I had this morning. But we provide free estimates in person. If it's a local move, then we go out, we meet the clients, we look at the things they're moving, and then we talk to them and answer any questions free of charge. I was talking to a guy the other day, and they were talking about the company. They said, well, I'm just name it. The company charged $100 just to come out and move furniture around to storage as a travel fee. We have no hidden costs. We don't do any of that. So we're upfront, straightforward, and we provide a free estimate. When you get on the phone and you call a credit card agency or whoever, what do you usually get? Some little automated telling you thing like that. You want to do this, this, or this. You don't get that with us. You call the number on that card, you can either speak to Kyle or myself or your client is with that, and then we'll answer the rest of any question that they may have with that. We are fully licensed, we are fully insured to travel all over the United States. I love to assign me the jobs to Clearwater, Florida, but to Michigan, I don't assign me to those jobs, but we do those things, we work with the customers, provide the free estimates, and we have an experienced crew of about 8 to 10 people. They've been with us a couple of years, so we don't have much turnover. And we do bring some new guys in every now and then as we grow, but if they're not doing what we need them to do, they become free agents pretty quickly. So we have a consistent, solid crew that knows what they're doing as well. So, question? Anybody? That's my time to say you're done. I thought you had a great question. Do you guys have any questions?
So will you guys box things up and
We do the whole thing except move sheds. I don't like to crawl under things like our inspectors and seize and things like that, but we do full service. We'll box things, wrap things, provide those services. We move gun safes, even though we don't like doing it, but we do things in different professions. Great question. Anybody else? Thank you.
Is the easiest way to just call you guys then?
Yes, just call us or even our email, but call us, we'll answer, leave us a message, and we'll be right out. We'll also do things like when you're staging houses or telling somebody to declutter and take things to storage units, then we'll also, do most everything.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, and reminder, guys, there's gift bags you guys will take with you as you go. Everyone's contact information is in there, so you'll have that for Trinity and everybody else that's talking to you today. So keep those guys in mind. They have a great reputation. I don't really know of another moving company that does, so that's my 2 cents on it. And they're working really hard to build that, which says a lot. Okay, so Mariah's here to talk about Atelier Unforgettable.
Morning, y'all. Good afternoon. So I'm here to represent Atelier Unforgettable. We're a portrait photo studio based in Asheville. We do on-location stuff as well. But really, I want to talk to you guys today about branding, elevating your brand. We love working with realtors because this is a huge market in Western North Carolina, right? There's so many of them. But it's good because what we do is help you stand out from that crowd, right? So when you come to us and you need headshots and you need branding imagery for your signs and for your business cards and for everything else that you do, we come in, every single headshot we do, every single photo we take has a pre-consultation where we design that shoot specifically to you. How do you want to look to your clients? Who are your target demographic? How do we appeal to them? How do we get you to get those clients? And so that's what we do, is we walk you through the whole branding process. We're there, we're helping you with styling, we're helping you with professional wardrobe, we're helping you with posing and lighting and everything that you need. You just come to us, we'll take care of you. That's basically it. We have everything from monthly headshot days for people who are just starting out and need just a few images. And often they come in and they're surprised that a few images turns into, wow, I had so much fun. I'm gonna get 20 images, because these are all great. So we love working with you guys, we love hearing your stories, and we love helping you really stand out from the pack and really represent yourself, right? So that when someone gets your card or sees your sign, they know who you are. They wanna work with you, because they know who you are just based on that single image. That's what we're going for. Do you guys have any questions?
You said y'all did on-location portraits or the headshots?
Yeah, we can do, so if we do a full portrait session, we can come to you. There's a small location fee based on distance or whatever, but if you don't want to come into our studio, we can come to you. That's something that we do all the time, especially for firms and things like that. But yeah, you're always welcome in our studio in Asheville as well. Anybody else?
Thank you. Awesome. So guys, check them out. She's right, there are a lot of realtors out there. And she's also right, you do have to set yourself apart. There's a lot you can do to do that. So make sure you check those guys out if that's something you're interested in doing. All right, so we had a couple of sponsors that couldn't make it today. Jason was our speaker today, and he's unfortunately sick. He apparently caught what his family had. So one of those situations, I'm going to go over what he was going to go over anyway, so that'll take care of that. But if you're looking for a great lender, Jason is awesome. He is, frankly, I'm a nerd in the legal field. I fully believe that. I feel like he's a nerd in the lender field. He loves lending too much. Like I love what I do too much, and he's very good at it. So check him out. He works for Rocket Mortgage, so if you feel like there's not a local presence in Rocket Mortgage, there it is. So you want to check him out. And he says it every time, if you've got a Rocket loan trying to close and you're having frustrations, he'll step in for you and make sure it goes smoothly, even if he's not the loan officer on it. So you can always call him if you have one that's going that way. So, and then also we had Charlie Cole with Market Title. Charlie, their whole setup is out in the Triangle area. So he actually does come out for a lot of our events, which even surprises me, but he's great. And you guys haven't met a lot of title insurance company professionals probably. It's not something you guys are typically concerned with, but man, if you knew on the back end how great it is to have a good title insurance company working with you to get your closing, they've saved a lot more of your deals than you know, let's put it that way, on making problems go away, making old liens that weren't canceled. They say, you know what, we're comfortable that if that ever comes up, we'll pay it off so you guys can close without having to spend a month tracking down someone. So it's a big deal to have a great title insurance company involved, and they've sponsored, and I hate that it couldn't come out, but there you go on Market Title. So, all right, I'm gonna get rid of this paperwork and talk to you guys. So I'm gonna go over what we offer at Lancaster first, and then I'm gonna go into what Jason was gonna talk about, so I kind of don't get those mixed up. So at Lancaster Law Firm, I'm the owner. We've worked 10 years on trying to be the best in the business. We'll work another 10 years on it, and hopefully maybe get there one day. But we try really hard to offer you guys things you're not gonna find, at least in a full package at another firm. We can close anywhere in North Carolina, all 100 counties, and as fast as you want to go. So a lot of law firms freelance out their title work. So they're going to hire a title abstractor that does not work for them officially, and that title abstractor is going to get them title work, well, as fast as they get them. I don't hire them, so I actually don't know how fast they go. But a lot of the attorneys won't hire that abstractor until after due diligence passes because they have to pay them. And they don't want to pay them if it's not going to close, which means you get title back slower. Frankly, trust me, the title work can be wrong. And also, if there are problems, it's less time to fix them before closing, which delays your closing. Lenders hate that, clients hate that, realtors hate that. And if you hear your attorney saying 2 to 3 days before closing, hey, we've got a major title issue, they probably freelanced out that work. And there you go. And the attorney will say, it's not my fault, there's a title issue. Yeah, but you could have done it faster and got it, but let us all know. So keep that in mind. We do search in-house. We can close in a few hours if everybody's ready. We've saved a couple of deals in December that way. But if everyone's ready to go, we're good to go. We can get it searched quickly and get it done. All 100 counties through all the technology and stuff. Currently, we're closing, I think we've got 5 deals this month in Wilmington. So to give you kind of an example of our reach, we can do that in any county. We offer go-to-you closings. So if your client needs to sign somewhere else in the United States, we don't sticker and FedEx a package like most firms do, including mine not too long ago. We send an actual closing agent to the person who knows what they're doing, knows how to explain the documents, that's anywhere in the United States. They don't miss signatures, which notaries do all the time, and it's just a stickered mail away. They don't miss notarizations or screw them up. And if that happens, guys, a lot of times the lenders want you to redo the whole thing. And then the attorneys, I used to say this, say, well, they wanted a mail away and I'm not the notary and I can't control that, which is all true, but we offer now closing agents to go to them that don't make those mistakes, okay? So you're skipping those problems that can come up on your mail aways. But also, if you have a client that's in Rutherford County and they don't want to drive to Asheville to our office to sign, we can send someone to Rutherford and sign with them. Largely, if they're signing in the county where the property is, we don't charge for this service. So unless, the idea is, unless any attorney would have to mail it away anyway because they're signing in California or somewhere far away from the property, we don't charge for this extra service. So it's all about accommodating your clients. If they want to close in a different county and not drive to Asheville or Canton, we can get someone to come to them. And what's great about that is they can sign wherever they want, whenever they want. You don't have to say it's 4 o'clock available at your Asheville office. Client can decide. They can sign at your agency, they can sign at their home, Starbucks, whatever. So it's a nice service that helps us get things done quickly and throughout the state. We also try to make you guys competitive because you guys pay our light bill and our salary. The lights are on today because of realtors. So we want to give back and make sure also, frankly, that our realtors that are working with us are a little bit more competitive. So while you can also make offers, you know, Polk County, we can get that closed in a week for a cash buyer. You can put that contract in, and if that helps you get it accepted, hopefully we've helped you with being able to do that. You don't need to call and ask if we can do it first and wait on that to submit your offer, get it in, and get it accepted, knowing we can take it on. We offer addendums, so all kinds of addendums. My favorite one is the chicken addendum. I'll call it that, first of all, because it's memorable, it's branding. But our first client that wanted it wanted chickens. They didn't want to put in the offer. I know some of you have heard this 7 times, so bear with me. They didn't want to put in the offer without having chickens. They wanted the house. They wanted a chicken coop. That was their dream. Highest and best review in 3 hours, and due diligence was 10 grand or something like that. This was back in 2020 or something, so when we started doing it in 2021. So it was this big deal, and they had to hurry on it. The realtor called me and said, what do we do? They don't want to put in the offer unless they're sure they can have chickens. They don't want to risk their due diligence money. If they lose this due diligence money, they won't be able to buy a house for a year or 2 max, best case, because it's a lot of money. And they're very particular buyers. They're not going to find another property, yada, yada. So what can we do? So we drew up an addendum that said, look, if we find out we can't have chickens on the property, we get to back out and get our due diligence money back. And look, if the sellers aren't going to sign that, fine. That's not the property for the buyer who wants the chicken coop. So it is what it is. So we drafted it up, submitted it to the seller. As long as the contract was otherwise competitive, the seller would probably consider it. The seller was saying, I don't know if they're a chicken coop, but go find out, which is the perfect answer, by the way, for sellers. But they didn't know. They were pretty sure they could, yada, yada. So they went under contract, they signed everything, we found out they could have chickens, it closed, buyer got their house with their chicken coop, and what's most important for you guys, the realtor got the commission check. They might not have ever gotten a commission check on that buyer if we hadn't had that. They called me and said, it was fun for me because we don't get to be involved early in contract negotiations very often. So I got to feel like I helped win that contract, which is rare for us. We usually just get the contract and close it, right? So it was very fun for us. We got to help them, but you know, the realtor told me I would never, you know, we would not have gotten this house without this addendum, and frankly, she wouldn't have gotten a commission check until they found a house for you. And that's amazing, as you guys know. They might just buy in another state or something like that. So we want to give you guys the ability to become more competitive, and if you have a client that's on the fence over X, whether that's chickens, I've done one for purple fences. I've done them for, this fan's gone. And in any event, we've really been marketing these for about 6 months or so. We're doing about 4 or 5 of them a week to give you an example of how often we're doing them. Agents are finding them helpful, and the vast majority of them are getting accepted. I ask for feedback on all of them. The ones that get rejected, most of the time, the offer just wasn't as competitive as the others. It's not because of what's in the addendum. I have had a couple that they said that I'm not signing an addendum. One was a builder. They didn't want to sign anything outside of their special builder contract. I'm not saying sellers should just always accept these, but the idea is you don't overuse them, you don't abuse them, you ask for deal breaker issues. I have had people, the most common ones we do are short-term rental ability on property. I don't want to risk this if I can't for sure short-term rental out the property. And also high-speed internet, because people are moving here from all over. And high-speed internet is not as big of an issue in most places as it is in Western North Carolina. So, and people don't know that who are moving from out of state. They don't know that. They don't want to hear your excuses about how lovely it is and we don't have towers and stuff like that. They want high-speed internet. They might be moving here because they can work remotely, so they need high-speed internet in the first place. So, and we're seeing that it is hard for realtors to confirm high-speed internet anyway. And please don't just walk into the house and if you see a modem, tell your buyer that there's high-speed internet, which was happening, which I probably would have done. But we found out that's scary and dangerous because the current provider might tell your new buyer, no, we're at capacity, we can't renew for the new buyer. We've seen that happen. And the most common scenario where these chicken addendums have saved due diligence money is with high-speed internet. We've had 2 or 3 of those. The seller said, yeah, you know, we think you can have it, but go find out. They put in the offer, found out they couldn't, and they got their due diligence money back. That's been the most common one that it actually protected the buyer. And again, guys, if you're not using those and they need high-speed internet and they lose $8 grand, your buyer may never buy a house with you. That can hurt people. So keep that in mind. We also do all sorts of any kind of other addendums. Keep in mind, guys, your contract forms are changeable. You just need to ask someone like me to fix it for you. So if you've got, the other day we did a kind of a curious one. We did one where the buyer was a sight unseen property. The buyer wanted to give a little due diligence money now and a little bit more later once they actually see the property. Now look, the seller can say no to that, but that's what the buyer wanted to do. Why not ask for it? So they got a little bit of due diligence money now, and when they were able to look at it on Saturday, the buyer had the option to giving more and proceeding or backing out and not giving more. But that first deposit was non-refundable. And, you know, it's all negotiation, guys. And if the seller's okay with that, that's something that might get your buyer off the fence to put in that offer. So they feel like they're not risking as much. And on that note, if you guys have a client that hasn't seen the property and you're putting in an offer, please reach out to me for a little form I'll give you that protects you guys in the event something goes wrong with them putting in an offer, having not seen the house. Because it doesn't matter, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what was said. There are some buyers out there that forget things, and you don't want to be the reason they put in the offer. They need to make that decision, and you want to have that in writing. So we can help with that kind of stuff as well. We have a client engagement specialist, Carly. Carly's outside. So you guys have met Carly. Carly, I don't think you'll find this at any other firm. So you have, first of all, you have my cell phone number if you're working with me. I'm a nerd. I like what I do. I like problem solving. You can call me, text me. Evenings and weekends, I'll get back to you most of the time within the hour, but very quickly to get you these addendums if you need them to get the offers in. They don't cost anything, by the way, but also just to answer legal questions. But while you have that access, Carly's reaching out to the clients 3 times during the process. Right when you get set up, client, how you feeling? Any questions? It's a 45-day close. It's gonna get a little quiet for a couple of weeks. Don't freak out. That's normal. Just going over the process with them, hand-holding them a little bit, midway through the file, she calls and says, still feeling good? Any questions? Here's what you're gonna wanna know as we approach closing and after closing. How you feeling? Did it go well? Can we improve anything? I don't think you're gonna find that at any other firm. And I don't think you're ever gonna have a client say, man, Lancaster Law Firm just doesn't communicate well. That's the biggest complaint we hear about attorneys. That's what we've tried to just, all things considered, that's not a problem with us. So she does a great job with that. We really appreciate her. So that's my spiel about the firm. Any questions about that, guys? Yes, the lovely girl in the back.
It's obviously wise. Can you wire our commission checks to?
Yeah, thank you. So one new thing we're learning is that we have the ability to actually get you guys paid a little faster at most agencies. Now it depends on your agency. I can't completely control how that works, right? And I'm learning that process. So it used to be that I could cut checks to, Keller Williams, and I could cut the realtor their check, and I could cut the person who referred to the business their check, all at closing. And everyone got paid right away, at least from the lawyer. The commission has said no more of that. That was a year or two ago, unfortunately. I don't know why, but that's another discussion. And some attorneys would do it, some wouldn't. I consider it another marketing thing. I can cut your checks, directly to closing. They don't allow that anymore. So now we have to give it directly to the agency, no matter what, per the commission, and the agency can split it up if they need to. One thing that we found is that for those agencies that will let us wire the funds to them within an hour of closing, the money's there. So the agency needs the money there, obviously, to get you guys paid, ultimately. And that's between you and your agencies on how fast that process happens, but we're offering to wire these commissions to the agency so they can turn around and pay you guys as quickly as they do, right? So if you're working with us, that's something we do that, again, there are firms out there that don't wire anything anymore, and I understand why, frankly. But for now, we're still doing that, and that's something we can offer, so it can help you guys get paid on a Friday, hopefully, instead of waiting until Monday, etc., however the agency does it. And you don't have to drive around and pick up checks. You don't have to see if the check's ready. You don't have to make plans in your day, and you got to pick up your kids, and now you got to go to the firm, pick up a check, and get to the agency. All of that is out of your hair, so that you can concentrate on what you're doing, concentrate on your family time. So it gives you back time and gets you paid faster. So if that's something you guys are interested in, we would love to talk to your VICs or whoever needs to be at your agencies about that. Because it's easy frankly, it's easy on our end to do.
Is there a wire fee or anything with that?
No. So we do that at no cost to you guys. The idea, of course, is that we would love your continued business, but the truth is no. We'll eat that. There is a wire fee. We'll eat that cost. It's not to you guys. Yeah. And we'll make sure it's done the same day as closing, that sort of thing. So you don't have to, if it's a 4 p.m. closing and we're able to get it recorded, you guys don't have to wait around on it either. You can get back to your day, we'll get it to the agency. They'll have it that day if we do that. And then, you guys can get paid a little faster. So, thank you. Any other questions?
Is Qual Connect still online?
So Qualia Connect is probably going away in April. Now, Qualia Connect is our software that we use. Some people love it. We did a little poll, and I'm not saying it involved enough people, but the majority of people are like, meh, not a big lover of it. And it's very, very expensive. It's about $25,000 a year. So it's a great product. It gives people the ability to communicate within a sort of a text chain, which is nice, and there's some other reasons that it's really great. But unfortunately, we actually got complaints that it was too much communication, which, kind of made me want to laugh a little hysterically after, well, we want to make sure you're communicating well. No, you're communicating too much. I'm like, oh my God. So you can't please everybody, but the truth is that's the motive behind it. But it's very expensive, and the truth of the matter is that the majority of the people don't want it, and it stays very expensive, will probably cost it. Now, using it's optional. We email, we call still for a lot of people. A lot of people, will tell us, no interest in using it, no problem, we know the file, we can keep it outside of that. If it becomes a lot cheaper, which might happen, and if we get a higher interest over time, we may continue it. We've got till April to figure that out, but there'll still be a lot of people that don't want to use it. So that's where we are on that. So yeah, try it out. You got till April to try it out. Let us know. But I do think, frankly, this is where it's going. I think it's maybe a little early, but things are going to become more and more electronic in real estate world. That's just the way it is. Portals are going to become more common, and it's a portal, So anyway, any other questions? All right. So, we're going to talk about 1031 exchanges. I'm Zeno Lancaster still, and basically, I know that Jason was going to talk about 1031 exchanges. I have no idea what he was going to say, so I'm going to tell you what I would say about them. So, the number one question we get about 1031 exchanges is, frankly, number one, do we do them? Yes. It is. I don't know why. There may be law firms out there that won't handle them. I really don't think that's true. And if there are, oh well, great for me. But they're not that complicated on the attorney side. What it means for us is we're either getting money from a 1031 exchange company for the purchase, or we're sending it to the 1031 exchange company on the sell. And they might have a couple of documents that have to be signed without a notary. It's simple. They might want us to put their company name on a HUD statement. Simple. So it's very easy. I don't charge extra for it. I mean, it's nothing for us usually. In fact, we work with a couple of 1031 exchange companies, not even, they're not a sponsor or anything, but there's just a couple of them that are very fast to answer on questions, even if they're not getting the business. So we work very closely with 1031 exchange companies. The second most common question we get is, well, can I do it on this one? Can I do a 1031 exchange company on this purchase or sell? If you're asking on a purchase, the question you'll ask right away is, did you do it on your sell? If you didn't, the answer is no. You can't turn money from a sell into 1031 exchange money on a purchase unless you started with the sell on the 1031. If you're selling it, you can send it to a 1031 exchange company and start that process. The property you can use it on cannot be a first or second home. So you can't do it on your primary residence. You can't do it on your lake house, right? You can't do it on your beach house. Well, I rent out that beach house some of the time. If that's your second home, you can't do it, okay? Now, if it's any other kind of investment property, for the most part, you can do it. So if you have 3 vacant lots and you want to sell those and put the money in 3 different transactions if you need to, and put the money into a 1031, it's called a qualified intermediary. They'll hold that money for you, and you go find other investment property anywhere in the United States. You can use that. Now, there are rules. You have to do things within certain time windows, but you're going to go identify the property you're hoping to buy. That's really the crux of the thing. That you get a lot of time to close on that property once you identify it. And it gets a little, frankly, liberal and flexible if something were to happen. And that's a really deep dive on the conversation. But the idea is, like kind, you'll hear that used with 1031 exchange companies. The like kind is not that complicated. The like kind means that it's investment property. It's not your first or second residence. And if you're selling it from your, Zeno Lancaster LLC, Zeno Lancaster LLC has to be the one that buys it. You can't mix or change the owner. But otherwise, you're looking for investment property. So if I sell those 3 lots, I can go buy an Airbnb house. I can sell a business, a commercial building, and buy, vacant land I'm going to develop. You can mix and match it as long as it's not your first or second residence.
So, okay, I always thought it was the exact same thing, like a 3-2 has to be another 3-2. So
No.
does it have to be anything like that? Just the same value then? Is where it's
Well, okay, not even the same value. So to do it, to do a 1031 exchange company, it just has to be investment property. So if you sell 3 lots, just to use whole numbers to make it easy. If you sell 3 lots for 20 grand each, you've got 60 grand. I'm going to do math and embarrass myself. And you find a 70 grand, whatever, investment property you want to buy. You're going to have to come up with 10 grand, but that 60 grand is not going to be, what you're doing is deferring capital gains taxes. So you're not going to have to pay capital gains taxes on that 60 grand. Now, if you sell 60 grand worth of lots, investment properties, and you buy a 50 grand item, you've got a $10,000, they call it a boot. You're going to have to pay capital gains on that $10,000. That's all. That's the worst case there. That you might have to pay taxes on that $10,000.
Question: so with sell one property and buy multiple.
Yes.
Yes.
Don't you have to end up with the same amount of debt too?
The same amount of debt?
Yeah, so if you had 40 grand of debt on those 3 lots, and you have to have at least 40 grand of debt on the next property.
No.
Because you're only deferring the gains on that property. So as far as I know, you don't have to go in. So if you had a $40,000 note on that property, you don't have to get a $40,000 note on this property. As far as I know, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but as far as I know, you don't have to do that. It's just they don't want you you're deferring those capital gains on $60,000. They don't want you being able to reuse that without paying those taxes unless you reinvest it in the property through this process.
The whole point is to keep the money from hitting your pocketbook.
That's right.
That's all you're doing. So it doesn't matter if it's lifetime to be anything, you just don't want to pay tax on it. So they don't want the money hitting your pocketbook. That's it.
That's right. And so, real quick, I've had a seller one time come to me the day after closing, okay? They closed on their property, it was investment property. The funds were wired in them, they were very happy, they did very well in the sale. Next day, hey, we want to do a 1031 exchange on it and go find property to buy. Can't do it. It's in their account, that's too bad. Now they have to pay capital gains on that. Even if they reinvest it right away. Now, I don't want to get too much into tax advice, because I'm not a tax professional, but that's the idea, is you can no longer defer 1031 money once it touches your account like those. Yes.
So what if you spend less than the 60 that's just kind of sitting there, or if you do the transactions that are 20 each again? Or what happens if you found one that's 50 and there's 10 more, but just sit there, can you pay tax on it to get it back out?
No. Well, okay, so you have so long to spend it. And then at some point, the 1031 exchange company is going to say, here's your balance back.
Yeah.
You're going to have to pay taxes on this portion. So you still defer the capital gains in the 50 situation, you would still defer the capital gains on the 50,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the boot, they call it boot, the balance is the 10,000. They would eventually just hand back to the seller.
It's all about that timing or whatever.
That's right.
Do you know the time frame?
I do, but I don't have it with me. But if you email me, I can get it to you.
It's 45 days to identify 3 properties.
It's 45 days.
45 days. And then you have 180 days to close it.
Yeah, so quite a long time. But you still don't want to wait, to get started. So if you guys are advising your clients on these sales, frankly, it's kind of better in your cap to be like, all right, let's get started on looking for reinvestment property.
Did you say 180 to close or 180 to contract?
To close it. So who do you use for your interview?
So I don't have a company that I'm just dead set on, but I like IPX.
Okay.
I think
Are they in Asheville?
they are in Raleigh. I think they're a part of Investors Title, which is North Carolina based.
Okay.
I like them because, again, there are people there I can email with questions. They'll answer them, no strings at all, and they answer them quickly. So if I have a client, and it's almost always like this, 2 days before closing, hey, we want to do a 1031 exchange. We saw it on Google, and they haven't brought it up, until that point. And we're able to say, no, we have all these questions, and they're not these typical questions. They're all kinds of other things, and we'll connect them, and they're very quick to get back to them, which helps. But there's probably other great companies too. That's one I would use if it were me.
So they give consideration for things that you have identified and you do plan to close but don't work out? Like, can you reset that clock?
See, that's the kind of question I let them answer.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
Because that happens a lot.
in my experience, I've been a little surprised on how liberal they are with that. And in my experience, if you're trying, that seems to be the bigger part of it. I have not, could happen, it probably will eventually. I have not had someone who was identifying property and just couldn't get one under contract go that far to where we found out. They've usually been able to identify something somewhere. In fact, really, guys, at some point, again, you have to advise your client, if you're running out of time, hey, you want to defer these taxes or not? I know they want 10 grand more than you're wanting to pay, but if you got 20 grand in taxes, maybe you want to pay it, so you can kind of use it to help with the negotiations too.
So there's one more question. The multiple property situation, that doesn't matter how many it is as long as the price is lined up.
Well, so you don't even have to line up the prices, right? But if you want to defer 100% of your money, then you do, right? So if you find the perfect property and you're okay paying capital gains on the boot, okay. But yeah, as far as I've read and understand, yeah, I mean you can mix and match it as long as it's investment property. Yeah, as long as it's not a first or primary or secondary residence.
Can you take part out and then the rest of the 1031, let's say you invest in something in, and then, you know, you put 50 grand, and then you have capital gain for another 50, so you take the original 50 out? I'm not quite like following all
Yeah.
that, so.
So if you sell something for 100, you want to do a 1031 exchange, and you're wanting to reinvest 50 and defer those capital gains. Now, guys, you're deferring; they're not exempting or coming off. You're putting it off for later. But if you want to defer on that 50 and you want to take 50 out in cash, you can, but you'll pay the capital gains based on that 50. That's called the
Only
boot.
50 that I took out? Why would I pay it if I originally invested from my savings?
So you're only paying it on the capital gains, on the gains on the property.
So like it's 50 is the gain, and what I invested originally is not the gain.
I
See, that's where I'm
yeah, I
like,
see what you're
don't
saying.
understand it.
My understanding is always that you had to put the full amount in there, but that's a good
But
question.
it makes no sense, like, because it's
Yeah.
just like, I invested something that I saved, and I saved cash, and then.
But see, if you keep that 50 originally got, and then you put the 50 and gain into another property, they want you to pay taxes on that. And if you just put it to another property and don't, they want their
I
taxes.
already paid the taxes on
They
the
don't.
50 I saved.
I know,
So, you
but
what
you're
I mean?
paying
It's like-
taxes. They want to collect taxes on your profits. And if you do it your way, you're not paying any taxes, right? You would keep the 50 originally invested, and you put 50 in another property, and no taxes would be paid. They want to tax you on those profits.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So that's, now you wouldn't have to pay, I don't think the actual capital gains tax, you wouldn't pay on that original 50. But I think, my understanding is for them to defer it, you have to use
So
it
use
all.
that for all.
That's my understanding. You know, that's something we can ask IPX though. But my understanding is you have to use the whole thing. All the proceeds. Any proceeds that touch your pocket, they make you pay taxes on. Because who's to say you're not pocketing the profits and reinvesting your original amount? It's 6 1/2 dozen of the other. So that's the extent of my tax knowledge. And math. Brains fried.
They're really easy to do. They're super, super easy to do.
Mhm.
I'm sure you've done a bunch
Yeah.
of them. It's just in and out, it's just the money just can't hit your pocketbooks, that's it.
Yeah,
So
it's much less
There's no
complicated.
limit on what you buy. There's just not limits like that. The government just wants their money, and you're trying to avoid that as long as you can.
And there are people that call it flop until they drop, flop until they drop.
That's right.
And so they defer throughout their lives.
They're
And then-
85 and now they're paying all their taxes because their kids just sold
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, or their estate takes care of
Their
it.
state does.
You know, they dropped. So, you know, that's what it is. And a lot of people do it that way. You know, they just, I want to pay capital gains ever, and they just, you know, the state will take care of those gains.
So they, okay, make sure I understand this right. You profit 100,000 on a home that you're selling for a 1031 exchange. You decide to buy 4 properties, 25 is what you're gonna invest into each one of them. You can do that?
That's the best case scenario, I think.
Yes.
That's exactly what I would do with that.
Freaking awesome.
Yeah.
You got it.
Because you just wealth build it by exponentially,
Oh
right?
my God.
Yeah.
And when you're running this by people, keep in mind, if you have clients that buy a house up here, first or primary or secondary, and they have investment properties somewhere else, maybe float it, it's a little easier to manage them up here, since they're living up here now. They might sell down there and use a 1031 exchange to buy an investment property through you up here, because it's a little easier to manage. There's a lot of opportunity here. And one of their reasons for not doing it, oh man, it's worth a lot more, and I can't take the tax burden. Or do you want to exchange it? Yeah, defer all that out.
You talk about the first, second investment, is that based on the type, if they have like a loan on the property, is that based on the type of loan for that is? So if you've got an investment specific loan.
It's a good question. So if you got a second home loan versus an investment loan, I would not try to 1030. You know, you're really asking for an audit if you mess around with this. IBX, and you don't want to get in trouble with the IRS. So yeah, if you've got a second home loan and you're renting it out, yeah, that might be between you and the lender also, but I wouldn't also compound that by doing a 1031 exchange. Now, you might jump through a few hoops to make an investment property. You might finance it, or whatever you need to do, put it in an LLC. That's something you can walk through, and that's a great question for IBX. Listen, I bought this as a second home. I'm going to convert it to just investment property. They can probably walk you through exactly what the IRS is going to want to see.
So when you say first or second home, you're talking about like you have a house in Florida and you have a vacation here, that would be first and second.
Yeah,
So anything
typically
after
so.
that will qualify for everything.
That would not.
Everything after those two.
Yeah, that's right.
And if you rent out your second home, locations are not a second home. Like, and it's not a second, like, that's the thing, like.
Well, the second home is, I think it's pretty liberal on how long you live in a second home. I don't think it's very long, is it?
I think it also has to do with the distance from your primary residence.
Yeah.
And the days you
Like we've got our primary home in Montgomery County, and we've got an investment property in Haywood County. You can't do that as a second home or vacation home because of the proximity to it. And I guess if you do the rates on the investment property, obviously is higher. It's going to cost you more than doing a second home or vacation home.
Yeah. Yeah, so bottom line is, the great news is if you have questions like that we're not sure about, that's a perfect opportunity to, frankly, I'm happy to connect you guys, but so we can talk to IBX or a company like that. And they're, I'm telling you, really good at answering fast because they want you to do this, just like I do. So they're going to answer fast and like, yes, we can do that, or here are 3 things you need to jump through to make sure. Or they'll say, no, you can't do that. At least you know. So that's a great question. If you bought it originally as a second home, is there a way to do a 1031 eventually on that property? Probably yes, but I don't know the exact hoops, so we can find that out.
If I sold a property in Kentucky, say an investment property I want to buy here, does it, the intermediary and the attorney need to be in North Carolina?
No. So you would close, what would happen is you would close there, and the attorney or title company, depending on the state, would send the money to the 1031 intermediary, and then they would eventually send the money to me in North Carolina.
Got it.
And so you guys, when you send the contract over, would just say, hey, it's a 1031 exchange company. If you don't already provide it, we're going to say, okay, who is it? You know, what's their email? And it's super simple. Hey guys, we're closing on this. What do you need from us? And you know, here's our wire instructions. You know, and we might, some of them, they're different across the board, honestly, in my experience. Some of them want a document or 2 signed. They're pretty simple. Some of them want to be named on the settlement statement. Beyond that, they want to see the settlement statement so that they can see if there's a boot, right? But they'll otherwise wire us the money. If the buyer owes more, they'll give us more. If it doesn't cover all the buyer funds, if they haven't identified a second property, they'll release that to the buyer, the client, and that'll be subject to their capital gains when they file the taxes. Yeah. It is. I know it sounds complicated, but like honestly, it's not. It's really not. You know, the most complicated piece is figuring out if the property is, if you're able to do that, but it's a very fast answer if you ask. We can find out really quickly.
I'm actually doing an IRA like that right now. I think that's the second one I've done in all these years, where the money doesn't go to the pocketbook of the seller, but it goes directly to his IRA.
Yeah.
You can't touch the money or it's taxed.
Yeah. Yeah, so you'll see clients every now and then, and it's smart, but pretty rare, but smart, they'll actually, their IRA will own the property. And when they go to sell it, we have to get someone with their IRA to sign it, sign the deed and everything.
Yeah, everything actually goes through that process first with the IRA, with them signing everything, then the seller signs everything, and then once we sell, the money goes directly to his IRA.
That's right. So your IRA can secure other things beyond just stock and that sort of thing. It can hold property. Any other questions, guys? All right, if you have any other ones, you're going to have my cell phone number and all of that in the bag, so you don't have it already, or you can just ask me for it while I'm standing up here. I'm going to turn it over to Carly. Thanks, guys.